And what did you see?
I saw it was an American Airlines 757, and it came in and hit the heliport, came down Columbia Pike and hit the heliport next to the Pentagon. I live in an apartment building on that side of the Pentagon, and it just crashed right into.
We were on Columbia Pike where the shelter is, and all of a sudden you can hear the noise coming first, and then you can feel the shaking of the building. And we just looked up out of the window, and I saw the tail end go.
What size plane?
It was for me, it looked like a big size plane. It was definitely a passenger.
In traffic on Route 110 on my way to work. I work across the street. And it was an American Airlines plane that came in and hit the Pentagon. I believe it was a 737. I could be mistaken. It might have been a 707, but it was definitely a commercial plane.
This Saturday, we are having a truth conference regarding whether or not a plane hit the Pentagon on September 11, 2001. 21 years, and there are still people, a large percentage of truth advocates, leaders, who believe otherwise. Some are going to posit that it was a missile that struck the Pentagon. They're going to argue that it was a drone outfitted to look like an American Airlines plane that crashed at the heliport. And a bomb is what made the damage at the west wall of the Pentagon. They're going to posit that a plane, a drone outfitted to look like an American Airlines plane, flew over the Pentagon. Now, all these people that are going to be at this 12-hour conference Saturday, starting at 7 a.m. and ending at 7 p.m., all these people are basically going to use speculation as evidence. They're going to twist the words of eyewitnesses to fit their narrative. And they're going to make statements which are demonstrably false. The one thing that they will never give their audience are the facts, which contradict their narratives. Eyewitness accounts, physical evidence, technical data, all of which supported by the scientific method, all of which will be ignored by these people. Why? Why are they doing this? Well, to understand the why, we have to know who these people are. And when you get to understand them on a general basis, you'll understand the mistakes most people make. Now, the question is whether they're doing it on purpose or that they're just generally ignorant. Now, that's something that I don't care to entertain, because if they're doing it on purpose, for who are they doing this on purpose for? Whether they're doing it on their own accord, are they agents of a government? Are they indirect agents of a government? Are they keeping themselves relevant for profit, for fame, a combination of both or all three? I would rather say that these people are generally ignorant. And to admit mistakes is to admit and change something about you, which is something that most people cannot grudgingly admit. And it brings me no joy to make a video like this, an audio anyway, to say to you that the 9/11 Truth Movement is an utter failure. But we are now at March of 2022, 21 years, almost to the day, to the 21 years and 20 years and 9 months, actually, to the day of the event. And we still are talking about, we're arguing whether or not planes were actually hijacked and crashed where they reportedly crashed. This goes to show you just how far removed and how detached they have become regarding the geopolitics of 9/11, which is the essence of the case. Some people prefer to want to believe rather than know, because that they don't have to take the next step, which is reacting with information to make one responsible. Knowledge is a very powerful thing, but it's also very persuasive. To know that there is certain elements of our government acting criminally, and one does not react to it, well, that would make you a perpetrator. But by believing in something and believing that you're right in something, you don't have to take the next step. You can have the convenience of staying put in a state of paralysis while exclaiming to everyone else how wrong they have it. That's why the people that you see in the conference this weekend, you won't ever see in a courtroom. Now, I know Barbara Honegger is on the board of directors at the Lawyers Committee for 9/11 Inquiry, but she'll be in no courtroom. The no plane crowd of the 9/11 Truth Movement have been stuck in this state of paralysis, this mindset of paralysis for 21 years. They've been stuck on the internet for that long. And the only thing that they have at their disposal is a limited creativity, which is often processed in a regurgitating manner, which leads them to have a very short shelf life before they become instantaneously boring by even the very crowd that they are positioning themselves with. And take note that the crowd that they are affiliating with is a very small crowd, but they're very loud. People who tend to espouse that planes are holograms usually are in a very fringe circle, so it's very small. People who tend to think that the planes were drones made to outfit look like hijacked planes, their crowd is a little bit bigger. Still small though. And so these people can't go in the real world and talk with rational people who will ask the right questions. And believe me, they deter any type of feedback. These people want exactly what they want. They want a people that won't question their positions. And if they do, you are treated like an outsider or a shill, and then degraded and vilified by the very circle that they adhere to. So what do we do? Do we sit back and watch the proponents of these irresponsible fringe conspiracies to dominate the spectrum of viral media? Or do we promote and produce as much information as possible in the hopes of trying to reach one or two people? That's exactly what my channel is about. And I'll admit that some years back, I used to be very aggressive with these people. But now I'm much more consolidated in my mannerisms. But I still want to reach out to these people. I don't care to sit in an echo chamber. There is no progress to be made. The videos I make, the information that I share, are hoping to reach to those victims of these proponents of these fringe conspiracies. Because I'm not after them. They're the true victims in this. I'm after the profiteering proponents of the 9/11 truth movement who are leading them astray. And so with that, I'm hoping that a video like this or an audio like this is being heard by the very people who fell victim to people like Barbara Honegger or Thierry Mason or Citizens Investigation Team and Rebecca Roth or Christopher Bolin and every other person who does not think any planes were hijacked on 9/11. I'm trying to reach you. And what I'm offering you is information. Information that is tangible, that is testable, that is evidence. And just because you know planes were hijacked on 9/11 doesn't automatically assume one is believing in the official narrative. To people who don't believe in hijacking planes on September 11, 2001, the official narrative to them, and this is coming from my experience from dealing with them, to the official narrative is that 4 planes were hijacked by 19 Muslim fanatics who crashed them into the World Trade Center, Pentagon, in Shanksville. And I'm going to tell you that is just a microcosm of the story that was perpetrated by the 9/11 Commission Report, by government agencies, the FBI, and the media. Not to say that this is false, okay? Yes, planes were hijacked. That would make part of the story true, perpetrated by the government, but it's not all true. Now, I've read the 9/11 Commission Report, and I have it uploaded on my WordPress, chapter by chapter. And the reason why I'm doing this is so that people who claim that all of it is false, they can read it for themselves and notice that some things are true, some things are false, but most of it is missing. Most information never got to the final report of the 9/11 Commission report. Why? What's missing? An example would be Able Danger, which was a Defense Intelligence Agency project run by General Hugh Shelton and Peter Shoemaker, collecting metadata on terrorists inside the United States and abroad, using open source data, which is internet data through Google, and closed source information, which is information that's not available to the public. And that operation uncovered a wider network of terrorists operating within the United States. And when that information was collected, they were ordered to destroy it. This was not reported in the 9/11 Commission report. Neither were the NSA wiretaps of Osama bin Laden's phone and an al-Qaeda communications hub in Yemen, in which the NSA was monitoring every single phone call made from those two areas. What were they talking about on that satellite phone that bin Laden was using from 1992 to 1998? What were they talking about in the al-Qaeda communications hub located in the capital of Yemen, Sana'a? What were they talking about at this house from 1996 to 2001? And once you start putting all these together, as well as the other stuff that never made it to the final report, you'll understand how much you're missing. Because if you're just going to say that the 9/11 Commission report and all of it is false, I don't have to read it, I don't have to do any study in it, is exactly what detractors of the truth want you to do. So you have to ask yourself, why do they not want you to read this book? Why do they not want you to look into the profiles of hijackers by submitting that there were no hijackers? Who were behind the hijackers? Who was behind the monitoring of these hijackers through the intelligence agencies, through signals intelligence, through human intelligence? What did they know? What did they didn't know? Information is power. And that's why agencies like the NSA and CIA, the FBI, are some of the most powerful agencies on the earth. And so I'll end it there. Again, just like in the previous video I made about the conference hosted by Richard Gage of 9/11 Unleashed, this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pacific Time, there is going to be a conference regarding what took place at the Pentagon on September 11, 2001. And I want people who follow me or follow Ryan Dawson or DJ Thermal Detonator, I want you to go to this conference. I'm not telling you to be there for the whole 12 hours, but I want you to be there, for an hour or two. Now, the question and answer period is going to be near the end, and each participant is going to get an hour and a half, I believe, of presentation. So there's going to be 4 people who are going to be involved with positioning their arguments around anything other than Flight 77 hitting the Pentagon. And there'll be two people acting in conjunction who will show evidence that plane did hit the Pentagon, and it was Flight 77. So that will be about 5 to 6 hours. And I think there will be some discussions after that. And then there's a question and answer period. I don't know what comes after the conferences, really. I mean, what comes after the presentations. But I do know there's a question and answer period right near the end. So please show up. And if not, do watch the conference when you can. Because I want you to see the mistakes made by these certain people. I want you to know who these people are and what they're doing to the 9/11 truth movement in the public eye. Because if we don't do anything to correct the issues of these people, then 9/11 will become an afterthought.